Hello. Oh, hello, friends. Welcome back to Future Fiber. This is a podcast where I talk about mostly knitting at this point, but sometimes other fiber related crafts. Today we have a update standard podcast video. We're at episode number 8, I believe, heading towards the double digits soon. It's been 2 weeks since the last one because that's the schedule that we roll on, and it's been a pretty chaotic past 2 weeks for me. So that means I got a lot of knitting done. There's a lot of ground to cover, and it's gonna be, yeah, I mean, you guys can be the judge. Oh, yes, we're sitting in a different area of the room because my cat stole my couch that I usually film on, and she looked very relaxed. So, as the non relaxed human, I thought I would just, you know, let her be. Let her be. New York had a really crazy fall summer heat wave. So some of the stuff that I finished came in pretty handy this week or these past 2 weeks. So I guess I'll talk about them. I'll start with what I'm wearing though. This is the modified Maude Tee by Petiteknit. And it was knit up in Hedgehog fiber sock yarn in the color Renaissance, and then a Colourmart yarn held together with that yarn rather. And I finally finished it. This has been a long time coming, a long time in the making, and just in time for the heat wave, so I can wear that. Yeah, it's fine. I I'm pretty pleased with it. I have yarn left over still, both of the yarns. I believe for the hedgehog fiber sock yarn, I still have about like 50 grams left of it, so I gotta figure out what to do with that. And then for the alpaca, bone alpaca. I have a little bit left. I gotta weigh it. But yeah, any ideas on what to do with the scraps? Otherwise, it's going into a scrap bag project, I guess. But let me see if I can show you though how long it is. So yeah, so it's fairly long, and we got two sleeves with a longer ribbing. Each of the ribbing sections are about like 10 centimeters, a little bit over. I generally prefer like longer ribbing sections, I think, in most of my garments, so that's what I did. So somebody on Instagram asked, I think it was Instagram, somebody asked me like if I did any other modifications to this other than just knitting it longer, basically. And I didn't. I just knit it longer, and I didn't add buttonholes here. Buttonholes? No, buttonholes. So this is not something that I can wear just by itself. Um, I might be able to wear it with like like a tank top or something underneath, but wait, that's still not wearing it by itself. You know what I mean. It's not like a the Elizabeth blouse by Petiteknit is designed to be worn kind of alone as a standalone piece. This yeah, we're not doing that with this one. Although maybe if you knit up the Maude Tee to gauge, this is also not to gauge. So if you knit it to gauge, you might be able to get away with it, or you might have to decrease the rows that you're doing the double knitted button band for you to get that result. Take this with a grain of salt. I don't have a lot of comments on that. Oh yeah, obviously the original doesn't have any ribbing because it's like a double folded uh, sleeve situation for the short sleeve Maude Tee. But I didn't do any decreases along the sleeves here. So it's just a tube, which I don't mind. I don't mind having like wider sleeves. And I know some people feel some type of way about sleeves that are kind of wider, but I don't have that problem because I usually roll it up anyways. Like I roll it like that. I roll it like this, so it's usually not a problem. Anything else? I did tubular. No, not tubular cast off. Just like a sewn bind off. I don't really do the whole like the double knitting on the for 2 rows before you bind off with a needle. I just go straight into the sewn bind off, and I do it kind of tight so that it doesn't like flare out the sleeves and the edges. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It's very plushy. Like it feels very cozy. Um, yeah, but this is definitely more of a fall knit than a spring knit. I'm happy that it's done, but I kind of felt like the neckline was stretching out a little bit. So what I did here, I don't know if you can see that, but let me get in close. So what I did there was I took a crochet hook and I just slip stitched around the collar edge to kind of like secure it a little bit, and I feel like that helped with the growing of the sweater. I'm sorry that I'm so sniffly. I'm going to try and edit it out, but allergies are obliterating me. The trees are confused. Yeah, anyways. So that's that. That's a Maude Tee. Long time project, finally done. This is a good this has been a very productive um 2 weeks for me. Uh because of the aforementioned me just like disassociating and knitting. Yeah. So I have a second finished object, and that is this square tee. We got pretty far with this in the last podcast. I think we were already at like here-ish, like mid-boobish. Yeah, it's done. This took like no time, and I like basically finished the whole thing in like the rest of it in like a day or two. So that was very nice. It's coming in very handy for the weather. I will say like the DK weight yarns, it's like maybe it's just this yarn because it's not like as smooth of a fiber, but it's really nice, but it isn't like the coolest thing to wear. It's okay when it's like the weather is like in like the 70s, but like the 80s, I was just like, no, no, I don't want to be wearing this. So, but other than that, it's been really good. So maybe I definitely want to knit another one, but I just gotta figure out what fiber to use or like what yarn to use because I don't have any more summer yarns, I don't think, in my stash. And I am still technically on a yarn ban, so yeah, we'll see where we go. I will try not to buy any more yarn. Well, you guys will be the first to know if I do. So, what do we want to say about this? Oh, I did make some modifications. The sleeves are a little bit longer. I knit about an inch here total before I bound off. And I think other than that, I didn't have any other modifications, or at least not intentional ones. I'm pretty sure like my stitch numbers were kind of off when I got to the part where I split for the sleeves, but that's because I can't count. Like it wasn't on purpose. But I did the size medium. Oh, and the yarn is Noro Kakigori and Akashi. I think we talked about it before. But the length, I think the length is pretty much the pattern. Maybe a little bit longer, but I kind of wish I knitted a little bit longer. And I have yarn too, so it was just I don't know why I didn't do that. But it's fine because I'm going to be wearing this with shorts in the summer mostly. It was just that my jeans, I didn't really have anything that was like yeah, yeah, as long enough in the midsection to kind of like cover all of the, the you know stomach area. It was fine. It has a little bit more positive ease than is intended by the pattern. I will try and insert a picture that kind of like shows it, but I think that's good. Like I don't want anything touching me, so it's worked out for the better for me. Oh yes, one last thing I will say is that the neckline before I did the I-cord bind off, I was kind of concerned because it was rolling down, and I feel like this Noro yarn also has a more of a tendency to kind of like roll up than I don't know other yarns that I've used, even with the I-cord. But I blocked it and I did it and it looks fine. I think it looks good. So yeah, I definitely want to knit another one. So if you have any like your favorite summer yarn suggestions that are like sport weight, I think I would knit this in sport weight next time. But if you have a favorite yarn, just let me know. I guess those are the two finished objects. And I have a lot of work in progresses. I had a lot before, but then I finished two of them, and then I thought that gave me um a free pass to start two new ones, but then I ended up casting on more than two, so I will talk about it. Crazy over here, man. Um, let's give an update with the stuff that you've seen already. This is a side note, but I think I put on too much blush today. I kind of look like I'm having a heat stroke, which I kind of am with the double sweater situation, but that's it. Okay, so the first work in progress that I will talk about is the Robinson Wrap cardigan by Handmade by Florence. Florence on YouTube. Yeah, yeah. It looks the same. I'm so sorry, but like I did make progress on it. It's just that now that we've gotten to the hello, yeah, now that we've gotten to the body part, it's just a little bit of a slog. But I think I've made some decent progress. So we are at. I've used to get here. I've used one ball of the drops kit silk. So I don't think I bought like 5 balls. I think I'm going to use less than that to finish. But if you're thinking of knitting this and you were thinking of how much mohair to buy, this is a size medium, size C. So if you were, concerned about how much mohair to buy, maybe like, yeah, use that as a point of reference. I think the stripes are coming out pretty. They're not awful. Like they don't look super weird, right? I don't know. Like I was worried that the spacing in between the stripes would be really wide or like kind of differ as it differ drastically as the garment progressed, but it doesn't seem to be the case so far. I'm sure it'll like the stripes will get shorter. The spacing in between the stripes will get shorter as the garment goes like longer and bigger, but so far it's okay. So I'm pretty happy with it. I think the fiber is looking nice too. So I'm just gonna keep chugging along. Oh, I did make a change though from the last time that I was knitting this. So I'm knitting this on 4mm needles, which is the recommended needle size. But then I have a really big problem with any stockinette that I knit in flat. It rolls out because my pearl tension is way looser than my knit tension. So what I did was one of the needles that I would be knitting with on the wrong side of the garment, I switched to a smaller needle size. So this is a 3.75 versus a 4. And I feel like that's kind of helping. I mean, you can't really tell because this this garment is this fiber, it has a bit of a thick and thin, so it's going to always look kind of uneven, but I feel like it's helping with the tension of my stuff. So that's what I am doing with this guy. Maybe I will have this by fall. The next thing I will talk about is that free-handed vest that I was working on. So this is the update on that. And oh, I did the same thing with. I did the same thing here, where I was knitting with 4.5, but then I switched the other needle that I'm purling with to a 4 so that it would, kind of balance out. But also this yarn just also has thick and thin, so like the tension still isn't very good, but it's fine. It'll block out ish. So this is the progress so far. We're working on the V-neck of the I guess one of the front panels. And I'm really just winging this, so I don't know how this is going to turn out, and I don't really haven't decided when I'm going to stop. And I also didn't take any notes as I was working on this side, so I'm going to have to like kind of reverse engineer it for the left side, which wasn't the smartest idea. But the construction though is like pretty similar to how you would do the V-neck for what sweater is that? For the Stockholm sweater a little bit. I kind of took inspiration from that. I did some short rows on the top of the shoulder here to kind of get more of a sloped shape around your shoulder, and then um the rate for increase on the V is different. But that's yeah, that's what's happening. It's going pretty fast. I just this was like maybe a couple hours of knitting, not even, for a day. So I just need to do it. Mm-hmm. And we'll get there. For it's this is more of an experiment than anything. I've never freehanded something like this before, so we will see if it turns out like poo poo or if it turns out like, kind of decent. I've also been working on another project that has been kind of resurrected from its grave. This is the crochet Scrappy tote, and I brought this back because I think I really want to try knitting more Scrappy projects, but I felt like I needed to finish the one that I already have before I cast on another one or something. So I kind of want to knit the vest that oh my god, what is the designer name? I think Lepole. She that designer has that Olympe vest, I think it's called.
Olympe.
A bunch of people have knitted it. Tiffany from Typical Bliss, she knit that up, and I thought it was pretty cute, and I thought it would look cute with some of the color combinations of scraps that I have. So I'm really trying to reduce my scrap stash. Do you call it a stash still if it's scraps, but like my scrap yarns that I have? So that is just, I do want to cast that on, but I'm going to try and finish this before I do that. And I think it'll be really cute for the summer. I do want to cast on another crochet bag project as well, because I have a little bit of like the paper yarn that I used for my like my dragon diffusion uh copy crochet herringbone stitch bag. So yeah, before I do another crochet project, I should finish the one I have. So I've been working on it. It's got some more inches. I think I'm going to crochet another inch or two, and then finish with a standard, like the same color for the edge of the bag and then the straps. So I have to figure out which yarn I have enough of for that. Mm. So that's it. That's the work in progress. Um, I'm so slow at crochet. How I don't, there's so many people, like I feel like crocheters are so fast at crocheting. I mean, I'm sure it's just like with practice, but I just think of other things when I'm crocheting and I get distracted so easily. It's different from knitting for me. So that's all the stuff that you guys have seen before, and now we have some new cast ons. So I released that 20 sleeveless tops video last week, and then that gave me free reign, apparently, for me to cast on sleeveless tops. And I've cast on two, so. So the first guy I'll talk about is, oh yeah, you're gonna have a tough time seeing this. Okay, but this is the square neck camisole by, oh my god, I don't remember the designer's name. But I think she goes by Garn Old Slikt on Instagram. I also probably butchered that, sorry. But yeah, square neck camisole. And I've made pretty good progress on it. So this is, I've been having a lot of fun making this. I just feel like it goes really fast, and I really like the yarn actually. And this yarn actually is a something that I talked about before. Um, and let me show you the project that I was originally knitting with this yarn before I talk about it anymore. But OGs will remember my first ever episode. I showed this camisole number 5 that was in progress at that time. This looks so small, man. Uh, but I was knitting a camisole number 5 with this yarn, and I after I don't know, after a while I was just kind of like, I don't think I would actually wear this that much. So Um, I decided to put this on hold. I thought about just like unraveling this, but I've already finished almost. Okay, maybe not almost, but I've done a fair amount of work for the yoke part or the top part, so I just felt it's a sunk cost fallacy, you know? I just felt weird unraveling something that I've already put some amount of works on. So I just cut the yarn and then started the square neck camisole. And if I ever feel like I need to return to that, or if I have, time or whatever, I'll return to it maybe. But for now, before I send it off on a Viking funeral, I decided that I will just, let it rest a little bit. So, square neck camisole. I am knitting the size. Oh man, I think it's small. I think it's the second size or the third size. It's either a small or a medium. I have no idea. I'm so sorry, but uh, yeah. The construction is you start with the two straps and then you join them by casting on stitches in the middle between the straps. And I will say it had me shook when I was first casting on the stitches and the neckline because it looked really wide. And I was a little scared. I was scared that it was going to be humongous. But then I read the Ravelry notes. I also did a poll on Instagram. I was like, guys, should I unravel this and start over with smaller stitch size, or should I like keep going and trust the process? And everybody voted frog it, but I always go against what everybody says to my detriment. But it worked out this time. I also read Ravelry notes because I was like, this can't be right. Um, but apparently it's that when you keep knitting, the rib pattern really like cinches in the yarn, and you also do a double knit border around the neckline, and that also helps shape it and bring it back in a lot. So a lot of people also said like the neckline looks really wide, and I don't trust it, but I'm gonna keep going. So that's that's what I did, and it worked out. So that's something to keep in mind if you're going to knit this camisole. But so far, I feel like the instructions were pretty clear. I've been having a good time um, knitting it up. And there's two versions that you could do with the body. You could either do decreases on the side of the body, or you could choose not to do the decreases. And I was like, like I like things with the positive ease. Maybe it'll be fine if I don't do the decreases. But I like the pattern that the decreases make, so I did it. Or I'm starting to do it. This is black yarn, so you're not going to be able to see anything. Oh my god, yeah, you can't see that. But the way that it works is that you have a center column of the three knit stitches, and you decrease towards the center column. So you get like this like tapering V effect as you go down the garment. And I thought that looked pretty cool. So I am doing it. And it'll fit hopefully better. Um but for 2 weeks, this and I wasn't knitting like monogamously on this, so I feel like I made pretty decent progress for like doing that. And I feel like I would probably have it done like relatively soon, which is exciting because I think this would be good to layer with other stuff. So now we're at bralette length. By the time that you see this next time up, maybe this will be at tank top length. So stay tuned. Oh, yarn. Ugh. This is a sock yarn. This is King Cole Cotton Socks 4-ply, and it's obviously in the color black. You get 100 grams of this, and then I specifically chose this one because the makeup of this yarn is pretty interesting, where it's like 58% cotton, 58% cotton, and 38% polyamide, 4% PVT. So the high kind of like poly content, PVT, like kind of nylon-y content, gives it like a good stretch to it, I think. Um, I, I mean, I originally bought this to knit camisole number 5, and that was because I didn't really like. I liked how knitting for all of cotton merino felt, but how do I describe how it feels? This is so disgusting, but I feel like the yarn feels kind of like moisturized. Do you get what I mean? Like if you touch it and it almost feels like it has like it's not lanolin because it doesn't feel like kind of that's but if you touch it, it feels very like it almost feels a little bit damp. Like you put like lotion on the yarn. And that feels really good. It's soft. Feels really nice against the skin, but I just don't think I want to wear that for summer. So I definitely knew that I wanted something with a higher cotton content, and I didn't want to do anything with wool. So that's why I chose this yarn specifically. But I haven't seen a lot of reviews for this. Well, my secondary monitor decided to crap out, so I don't know if this is going to film correctly, but we're gonna keep going. What was I talking about? Oh yes, so I basically wanted to choose a yarn that had a lot of cotton content and didn't have any wool in it, and that's how I landed on this one. Doesn't have a lot of reviews, but my review is so far is very positive. I think it actually does feel very similar to the cotton merino by Knitting for Olive, but it has more of a like this feels more like it'll stay. Oh, doesn't feel as moisturized. It doesn't feel like it because it doesn't have that 70% wool content. It feels a little bit the yarn feels a little bit harder, more like typical cotton, which I think is good because I want to use this for summer garments. Knitting for Olive cotton merino, I think I would only really use it for like tops that are well this is a top too, but you know what I mean. I think I would use it for like long sleeves, like thin tops that you would wear like in maybe in like early spring or like um as an underlayer in like the winter and stuff. Like the particular pattern that I'm thinking of, just because it's like on my mind, is from the designer Wool and Beyond, and she has this wonderful pattern. I want to buy it, but I don't have the. I don't. I'm not buying the yarn yet, so I have been kind of trying to restrict myself. And it's called the thin sweater or thin top. There's a set too. There's a skirt too. I both are good. Um, yeah. So, anyways, yes, that I want to knit that with it versus a tank top. I don't want a tank top in that. So, anyway, that's it. I like this. Buy it. It doesn't have a lot of colors. I don't really like any of the colors other than the black and the white, and maybe with like one of the blues. But please buy this yarn so that they don't discontinue this because I like it. Um, next tank top or sleeveless top. I don't know, bro. Like I don't know. So this cone of silk that I got from Colourmart is never ending. We still got more of it. And I was originally going to knit the cumulus top from Petiteknit because I have the pattern, but I am not going to knit the cumulus top because I don't know. I just didn't feel like knitting stockinette. So we have the beginnings of a Stella top, and this is one of the patterns that I showed in the 2020 sleeveless tops video. And this is by the designer Tweedysheep and Svetlana Volkova, I think. Yeah. So it's going well, I think. I don't know. Like I cast this on like 2 days ago, maybe. What do I want to say about this pattern? This yarn, I don't know, man. I think I would just knit with um if I didn't have this yarn already, I would suggest and you wanted to not use the cotton yarn that is suggested, I would say maybe you want to knit this with Knitting for Olive pure silk instead. I feel like that yarn is just a little better than this. So, but this isn't bad. I need to stop knitting on this. But okay, what do I want to say? So the way that this starts is with a little bit of 1x1 ribbing on the bottom, and then you go into the, the yeah knit and purl pattern that the pattern suggests. So and it recommends a tubular cast on, and I think if you tubular cast on for like however many stitches is this, it's like 200 something stitches. It's not fun. So I think I have the wrong stitch count for the start, but I don't know. It hasn't really been an issue yet. Um, And I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little bit, it flares out slightly on the bottom. So I wished that I did this with a smaller needle. Like I just did the cast on with a smaller needle, but you know, like live, laugh, love, you live and learn. This is already 2.5. No, what is this? This is 3 millimeter needles. So pretty small. And I think this is off gauge for sure. But I chose it's either the small or the medium size that I'm knitting. I think it's the small because the pattern goes XS small, XX, 2X small, extra small, and then small. So I think I'm knitting a small. Um, but this yarn grows a lot. I don't know. I'm YOLOing it. I really don't know like if this is gonna fit. Um, so pray, everybody, pray for me. I didn't even swatch it because I don't care. Yeah, I think it's gonna be really nice if I finish. Um, and I'm debating if I wanna like after I'm done, if I'm debating if I want to kind of dye this yarn because I feel like I think I mentioned because I have a cumulus tee with this same yarn and I don't think the color really looks that great on me, so I might like maybe I'll dye it, but maybe I won't. Uh, yeah. So this is bottom up, which I think is good. I think I would not want to start with the straps on this guy, but the the stitch pattern, the knit and purl stitch pattern, I want to say is the most intuitive for me because it's it's not even. I mean, you repeat it across the round and you of course repeat it uh like kind of just vertically. So once you've established it, it's not hard. But like definitely when I was making that I was doing that setup row from like transitioning to from the one by one to the knit and purl pattern, I was like, what is happening? I was like trying to count in my head, and I felt like Abby Lee Miller from like Dance Moms be like, you know, like I was like trying to do like a count of 8. It was like not good. But we've made it, and it's fine now. Is that it? No, I have one more. So this is not seasonal, but uh, so after the success of my Ingrid sweater, I felt like I needed another kind of sweatshirty sweater. I just wanted something that was like big and oversized and like designed like drop shoulder, designed kind of like a sweatshirt. So I cast on a new sweater. Now this looks like a swatch, but I am telling you it is not. Let me pull up the pattern. Hold on. Please hold. So this is from the designer Wool and Beyond, and this is the Beyond Basic sweatshirt or the starts of it. And I'm knitting this with Jamieson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight, and I'm holding two different colors together. This one is 27 gray, and then the other one is a darker gray, and I don't remember the numbers. It's like 50 something, so I'll like put it down in the description. But yeah, I'm knitting it together to kind of create this like marled effect almost, but then it's like there's you know same tone, so it kind of looks like heather almost, which I think is cool. So I'm going to have two gray sweatshirts. I chose this pattern because I thought the details looked really neat. It has a lot of cool construction details that I don't think I've seen other um in other patterns that are for sweatshirts. So that's why I chose this one. The first thing is that the pattern has like an X in the front, which I really liked. And then the second detail that I really liked is this pattern starts with a back yoke. You gotta knit a back yoke this way. And then so there's a transition in the direction of the stitches. So I thought that was a really cool detail. So that's why I decided to knit this one. I am knitting the size medium, I believe. This is off gauge again, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. So the back yoke is double knit in the original pattern, but I am only doing single knit. So I cast on half the amount of stitches that was recommended for the back yoke since I'm not double knitting. But I am knitting on a very tight gauge. This is a 4 millimeter, but like this, I'm going to be knitting the main body part of this in like 5.5 millimeters. So that kind of gives you an idea of how tight the gauge is. So I don't think it's going to have any like I don't think it's going to stretch out too much, um, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I just think that this with this yarn. Okay, so the original is like a fingering weight yarn. No, sport weight yarn, I think, and then a mohair. So it still has it's plush and has air to the fabric, you know? And it's going to be a little bit more drapey than this, which is like Shetland wool. And it's like two sport weights held together, so or two fingering weights held together. So it's just going to be a little bit different, the construction, and I like that because I think with sweatshirts, I like the fabric to like kind of stay away from my body and have this like enveloping cocoon shape to it. So yeah, more structure is nice. What was I saying? Yeah, so that's why I decided to do it single and not double because I thought it would be too thick of a fabric. That's really it because I haven't really done anything else with the pattern. So I'm just gonna keep going, and then you just keep knitting a little long guy until like you get to the desired width of the yoke, and then you pick up stitches like down this way, and then of course like down up here, so that you can knit the shoulders, the two front sections, um, and then you pick up for the neckband. So I'm excited to have this. I don't think I have enough yarn though. I purchased this from a friend. Um, oh, I also mentioned this yarn in the first ever podcast that I did, but yeah, I got this yarn from a friend. She had enough of it to make the yellow cardigan from Marie Wallen, and that's just like a straight up fingering weight, like Fair Isle pattern, you know. And I'm not doing that obviously, and I want this to be super oversized. So I have 12 balls of this, and I definitely don't have enough for the sweatshirt. But I wasn't gonna do anything else with this yarn, so I figured if I run out, I'll just buy more. And yeah, hopefully by then I would have used up some more yarns so that I could, you know, yeah. Anyway, that's really it. That I think that's all the work in progresses that I have. So I've cast on, let's see, one, two, three, four new, four new guys. So yeah, I started wanted to cast on another summer top, but then I didn't because I was like, you need to exercise restraint. Like you need to finish one of these things before you do another one. So that's where we are right now. Okay, thanks for tuning in again. Hopefully, I make some progress on these by the next podcast so that maybe I'll have another finished object. That would be cool. I'm excited for the summer knitting. I'm not really excited for the season itself, but I think the summer knits are really, really nice. And I want to cast on another like t-shirt. So yeah, that's it. All right. Well, I hope you guys are having a nice day wherever you are, what time it is, what hemisphere you're on, what country it is, all of that good stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode in 2 weeks or next week if you watched all the stuff that's in between. Okay. Okay. Bye.